welcome back, and we're going to continue off for where we left off. What are Aki and the others really criminal convicts?
Well, technically, no.
No?
They're not on record as having committed any crimes.
But Kevin told me they were in the news a lot. He said something about selling the Space Needle.
Oh, please don't remind me. That was one of the bigger headaches, and a huge publicity fiasco. And yet somehow, I'm supposed to keep them out of trouble now?
What do you mean?
I guess you could say I'm their official handler. I'm supposed to keep an eye on them and make sure they don't do anything else.
But what did they even do?
Hustling, mostly. The twins ran a lot of cons. Aki's got some sort of charm about her that makes people trust her. She's really manipulative, and her life is nothing but moral gray. Naoki's a good kid, but he'll do anything his sister tells him to do. And he's a fast learner. He can pick up on pretty much anything. They came to Edgewater 2 years ago and wreaked havoc for a good year before we finally caught them.
He rubs his head slowly as if an old headache had just found its way back to him.
But Aki is Aki. Somehow she managed to cut a deal. Clean records in turn for their special services. So now the government uses them as investigators, spies, or anything else requiring a quick mind and an expendable body.
That's why she said they're a special investigation agency.
It's not an inaccurate statement. And on that note, be careful about what she says. She's not a liar, but she likes to tell misleading truths.
What about Lee May? What did she come? Oh, where did she come from?
I'm afraid that's classified information.
I raised an eyebrow, but I don't press the question. It's obviously not something I want to get involved with. I heard that Mr. Auden was conducting genetic experiments on people. Nikolai's eyes widened.
That's a pretty strong claim. Are you sure?
Well, not exactly. I mean, I was talking with Marissa about it. She's got some pretty good evidence for it.
Is that so?
Yeah, I don't know all the details though.
This definitely warrants a closer look. I think I'll go speak with her about it. We can talk more about this later.
Yo, bro, I ain't done yet. Can I go in the room? No. As I enter the lobby, Aki races down the stairs and nearly runs me over. Whoa.
Oops, sorry, Con.
Where have you been?
I was just upstairs with Liam. Oh, don't look at me like that. It's not what you think.
Of course.
For your information, I was just asking Liam about the staff. Did you know that none of Mr. Otten's personal staff are paid?
What? That can't be true. Kevin said that Mr. Auden pays him well.
Well, then Kevin was lying.
And what makes you think Liam wasn't lying?
Let's just say that he strongly believes it's in his best interest to be truthful.
In other words, you use your Kansei.
Got it in one.
So if Mr. Auden doesn't pay anyone, why did it work for him?
Kevin's family owns a small business that's in serious trouble. Mr. Otten pulled a few strings to keep the creditors away, and they'll stay away as long as Kevin works for him. As for Sophia, it seems her husband's heart is failing. Mr. Otten promised to move him to the top of the recipient list for the company's new organ creation project.
Whoa, so basically he gets people to be completely devoted to him by holding on to what they love, and in the end he doesn't have to pay a cent.
I have to admit, I'm actually kind of impressed.
This is getting complicated.
What about you? Find anything interesting?
Well, when I read Mr. Auden's death, the last thing he thought about was protecting a vote. He said the vote had to be protected at all costs.
Maybe the killer is after it too. We should try to figure out what's in it. Or, better yet, actually find it.
Do you learn anything when you were talking with Liam?
Well, he did mention that his uncle likes to drink.
That's not exactly news. I'm pretty sure everyone here knows that.
It sure makes poisoning him easy though, huh?
So you and the others are criminals, huh?
I see Miko has been talking to you.
Lee May is the one who told me.
Well, I won't deny that we've done things on both sides of the law. But we're not just a bunch of criminals, okay? I have my reasons.
I've explored as much of the house as I can.
But?
Well, I haven't gotten a good look at the security room. Kevin's always in there, and I don't want to go poking around while he's watching.
I don't suppose you could sneak in or something?
Don't think so. Even if we find a way to get him out of that room, he's probably locked the door behind him.
Darn. Well, exercise the options you have, I guess. Have you found that vault he was worried about?
Not yet.
Might want to start there.
I don't have any more to say right now.
That's cool. We'll talk later.
Okay, we gotta use a different approach.
Hey, con guy, right?
Liam approaches me as soon as I enter the lobby, or hallway. Huh, yeah, what's up? He runs his finger through his hair and yawns.
Just wondering if you were on good terms with that police dude.
I wouldn't really say that I am.
Huh. Well, that sucks.
He shoves his hands in his pockets.
I told him I wanted to go, and he was all like, I can't leave because Uncle is something or other.
Dead, you mean? Liam stares at me as if I've just found a place to octopus atop my head.
What are you talking about?
Mr. Auden is dead. He just died. Did Aki even tell him any of this while she was speaking with him? Liam's eyes dilate as he processes my statement.
Wait, so that means...
His eyes light up as a self-satisfied smirk spreads across his face.
Well, there's irony for you.
What's so ironic about it?
Come on. What isn't ironic about it? The man makes artificial hearts for a living, but his own ticker fails on him?
I purse my lips in attempts to keep my voice calm. You don't seem that cut up about it.
Why should I be? He was due for it soon enough with the way he was drinking. A heart attack, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably a heart attack.
Yeah, figured as much. Well, that's that, I guess.
I wouldn't be going around telling people I think he was murdered. I think he was poisoned by an autopsy. That's it? You just going to shrug it off like that?
Am I supposed to cry or something?
He's your family.
Yeah, I've lost family members before.
He shrugs.
Really, it's more annoying than anything else.
He kicks the door to the living room and a sensor by the door beeps a complaint. Liam rolls his eyes and turns towards the camera. The lens takes a brief moment to focus before the sensor beeps and the door opens.
Can't believe I'm locked in this stupid place because of a stupid heart attack. Okay, officer, you win. I'll stay here in this stupid house for as long as you want.
Detective Grisky raises an eyebrow at me as if to ask if I had anything to do with Liam's stubborn compliance. I shrug and look away. Marissa is currently eyeing Liam with a cunning look in her eyes. She circles around him slowly before flashing him a white smile.
Liam Otten! Just the man I wanted to see.
Yeah, I guess I am.
I'd like to interview you for the magazine Modern Trends, if you don't mind.
She claps her hands together as if begging him for just a brief moment of his precious time. Detective Gursky gives me a brief nod before quickly exiting the room. No doubt he and Marissa have been talking about extracting information from Liam. I probably shouldn't stick around. I'll just go. I dug out of the room as quickly as I can. I ain't done talking to you. Do you know if Mr. Auden has a vault at the bank?
I assume most rich people do. Why do you ask?
Because he doesn't know about my he doesn't know about these powers, right? From how he was talking about Aki, he doesn't. Just curious.
That's a strange thing to be curious about.
Yeah, I guess
Although,
so.
looking at his lifestyle, I'm actually inclined to think that any vault he cares about would be in this house.
How do you know?
He rarely leaves the house, and security here is tight, even for a high-ranking official. It's obvious that he has trust issues. Someone like him wouldn't let a bank hold on to something important. Besides, I'm sure he'd want to keep a close eye on it too. If there's a vault, it's definitely somewhere in here.
Gursky's right. It has to be hidden in this place somewhere. I wonder if anyone here knows about it. It turns out that Mr. Auden was going to cut Liam from his will.
Well then, that's an interesting turn of events. Do you know why?
One too many runs in with the laws, it seems. The big one apparently was him getting involved in dogfighting. Detective Gursky grimaces.
That would do it. Am I to assume that Mr. Alton never actually got around to making this all-important change in his will?
Yeah, Sophia said that the lawyer was going to come by next week.
Great.
Never
Try not to
mind.
get into too much trouble.
Okay, I guess I go try and talk to Naoki again, something like that. No, I don't care about the notepad. Kitchen. Do you know everything your sister tells you? Do you do everything your sister tells you to do? It seems like you keep giving up what you want in order to please her.
Actually, it's sort of the other way around. Our mother died during birth, so Aki was the one who had to raise me. She gave up her life for my sake. I guess after making her life so difficult, I'm just trying to make things easier for her now. Besides, I don't do everything she tells me to. We argue all the time.
Seriously? It sure doesn't look like it to me.
Stay with us a little longer, and you'll see plenty.
Why do Aki and Detective Gursky hate each other so much?
Well, both of them have very strong personalities, but they have different approaches to solving problems. He thinks she's too impulsive, and she thinks he's too indecisive.
And what do you think?
I think they're both right, and I think things are gonna go terribly again if they don't realize this.
Again, what happened?
I guess...
Naki bobs his head back and forth as if he's trying to think of a tactful way to say something very blunt.
Well, they both agree that it was the worst blind date ever.
What?
Oh, please don't tell anyone I told you that.
Yeah, sure, I can keep my mouth shut. Naoki smiles at me. He looks relieved.
I'm sorry, I have to get going.
What's up?
Aki wants me to look around upstairs for a bit.
Right, okay, sure. See you, I guess. Does anyone in your family suffer from any kind of medical condition? Sophia places her hand on her hips and gives me a sharp glare.
Has someone been talking about my husband?
Yeah, Liam.
That boy.
Sophia's expression tightens for a brief moment, but it doesn't take long for her to regain her composure.
Yes, my husband's heart is failing, and Alton Engineering is the only company with the technology to keep him alive. Mr. Alton allowed my husband preferential treatment in exchange for my services. I may not receive a paycheck, but I value my husband's well-being even more.
She claps her hands together and straightens her
Now
back.
please do not pry any further into my private life.
Do you know anything about a vault or a safe hidden in this house?
Yes, Mr. Alton mentioned a safe place once or twice, although I don't know the exact location. I'm sure it's in the house somewhere, but the way he spoke of how inconvenient it was, I assume it wasn't located in his study.
Can you think of any reason why anyone would want to kill Mr. Auden?
Sadly, I could name several. Mr. Alton wasn't a very popular man in the business world. His most recent project stepped on a lot of toes.
And that would be...
Organ replication.
What?
Alton Engineering is concerned mostly with mechanical organs like artificial hearts or lungs. but lately Mr. Alton has been trying to find a way to grow organs from living tissue. The process involves taking a tissue sample from the patient and using it to recreate the organ they need replaced. It ensures compatibility, and it allows for replacement of things impossible to substitute with mechanics, for instance bone marrow. The end goal was to be able to recreate any and all parts of the human body when necessary.
That sounds pretty sketchy.
Well, under certain circumstances it is. Of course, technicalities aside, the ethics of such research. Well, there were the obvious protests, demonstrations, and death threats.
Hang on, why didn't you mention this? Why didn't we mention this before?
I didn't think it was important.
Are you kidding? He received death threats, and now he's dead. You seriously don't see the connection?
But none of them seemed like serious concerns. Besides, Mr. Alton received death threats for lots of his work. I didn't think this would be any different.
Oh really? And why would people threaten to kill him?
He saved a lot of lives with his work, but people have died because of him too. Once in a while, one of the organs built by Alton Engineering malfunctions and someone dies as a result. It's not a common occurrence by any means, but they are tragic, and Mr. Alton often receives the full hatred of the victim's family. And of course, it's very expensive to get a replacement organ. People have gone into debt over them, and that brings about much hatred as well.
It's starting to become more evident why Mr. Auden doesn't like living around people. If that many people hated him, I'd probably lock myself up too. You think that with all the lives he saved, people wouldn't hate him so much?
It's really not as simple as that. It's possible to do good things with bad intention.
Whoa, she looks angry. I thought she was really distraught about Mr. Auden's death, but looking at her now, she definitely seems to be harboring anger towards him.
I'm sorry, I really don't know much more than this. The only thing I know about his work is what I wrote for his press releases. I know he kept copies of all of his research, but I'm afraid I wouldn't know where to look.
Can I go to the basement?
Of course.
Let's go talk to the girl again. Anyone here actually? Hold on. No? Leave May. Living room. Nothing new? The kitchen, living room. Liam looks up at me from the couch with a bored expression on his face.
Oh, hi again.
I scan the living room quickly. Liam's the only person here. Where's Marissa?
Oh, her? She went to the bathroom, I think.
I just came from there. He turns his back to me and focuses on the widescreen television set in front of him.
Did you want something?
Just wondering if we could talk.
What? Are you a reporter too?
No.
Oh, right. You're with Aki. She said you guys were economics students studying Uncle's business practices.
Economics student sense. I would not have called that. Yeah, school paper.
Well, you can ask me anything you want, I guess. But I don't really pay attention to what Uncle did.
Did your uncle threaten to cut you from his will? Liam eyes
Who
narrowed.
told you that?
No one. I'm just asking.
The answer is no. Uncle never did anything like that. And if anyone is saying things like that, they're lying.
Really?
He made a promise to Mom too, you know. Said he'd take care of me. There's no way he'd cut me out of his will.
Yeah, that really not how I heard it.
Listen, sometimes he might just say things to, you know, try to convince me. He doesn't really mean it though.
So he did threaten to cut you from the will.
He does that all the time though.
But he actually scheduled a lawyer this time. Liam's carefree expression fades into an unpleasant frown.
So?
He meant it this time, you know that.
No, he was just trying to scare me, like he always does. There's nothing more to it than that.
Liam's casual attitude is completely gone. His body is tense and his eyes bore into the television screen as he struggles to ignore me. I've definitely struck a nerve. Do you know if your uncle keeps a vault in the house?
Oh yeah, he totally does.
Do you know where it is?
Nah, not so much.
I feel my shoulders sag in defeat. Any guesses?
Well, he always told me it was in a place I could get to easily, but no one would be able to see me. Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention.
There's a shocker.
He was pretty proud of it, though. Said that even if someone managed to find and open it, they still wouldn't get the contents.
Why not?
I don't know. Maybe it's booby traps. Can you imagine that? Someone opens a safe, and then boom! Money on fire everywhere!
Yeah. Is there anyone who might want your uncle dead? Liam frowns and stares at the ground.
Lots of people, I guess.
Can you be more specific?
This is stupid. I don't have to tell you anything if I don't feel like it.
Sorry, I was just asking. I heard that your uncle didn't pay his employees.
Well, Sophia and Kevin, yes. He said that in order to trust someone, money can't be involved in the equation.
Wouldn't that make someone less trustworthy if they didn't pay you?
What, you think one of them killed Uncle? What would they have to gain? If he's dead, it's not like he could pay them.
Liam eyes me suspiciously.
You're asking weird questions. What's this really about?
Just asking some economic questions, nothing more. Well, that's all. To the bathroom again.
Oh, hello, Kansei. Did you need to...
Marissa points at the stall. No, it's fine. I was just wondering what you were doing in here. Marissa frowns and begins to fidget.
Well,
Wait, do I want to know?
it's nothing bad.
She scans the room quickly with her eyes.
I just needed a place where I could be private. You know, someplace where no one's watching. There are cameras all over this place, you know?
So? She shivers.
That's terrifying. Aren't you bothered by the fact that someone you don't know could be watching your every move at any point in time? We give up so much of our private lives into the hands of strangers, and we don't even think twice. Doesn't it bother you?
I guess so. It's probably something that should bother me more, all things considered.
Well, Mr. Otten at least had the decency to leave the restroom as a private area. I wonder how long that will last.
So you came in here because you need to be alone?
I just needed some time to think without feeling like someone is watching me.
I guess I'll just leave you alone then. Yeah. So I think the vault is in the restroom. You know, get him out of the way. Do you know about a vault hidden in this house?
A vault? Can't say I do. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably in his office. It's the most secure place around here, after all. Although, I can't think of anything he might have that's more valuable than that precious artifact collection of his. He sunk more money than I care to think about buying all that old stuff up. Maybe that old museum of his is the vault. He certainly loves it enough.
What do you mean?
He wanders in there all the time, just to look at stuff.
Kevin points at one of the monitor on the wall. The glowing screen displays an angled image in the museum.
That room has so much stuff he cares about. You could probably say it's his vault.
Kevin points to the bottom corner of the screen.
There's a blind spot right here. Anything under the camera won't show up on the monitor. It's the only place in the house with such a massive blind spot. I keep telling Mr. Otten that we should reposition the camera, but he refuses.
Why would Mr. Otten willingly hide a portion of his house? Maybe just something there that he doesn't want Kevin to see. I'll have to go inspect it myself. So, about your family's debt. Kevin's face darkens and he tugs on his hair nervously.
Yeah, that.
There's nothing to feel bad about.
You think so? Because I think there's plenty to feel bad about.
He glares at me.
My parents took out a loan so I could go to a good college, yeah? Everything looks okay until my last year when the company suddenly changes their policy. The minimum payment shoots up and the interest rate goes through the roof.
They can't do that.
Sure they can. It was in the contract, printed all tiny and in legal junk.
He rolls his eyes.
My parents are too trusting, but they wouldn't have gotten into this situation if it wasn't for me. And if I had been there, maybe I could have read the contract myself and seen something.
He looks like he wants to say more, but instead he merely gazes at the ground.
So yeah, I feel pretty bad about it. But what can I do, you know? Come by if you want to ask me anything else.
Okay, let's go to the museum. Examine. Old armor, hold on. Was Mr. Auden hiding something here? I should examine it more closely. I examined the wooden box at the far end of the room. It's the only item in the room that can't be seen from the security camera. It's also one of the few items not under glass. I suspect that Mr. Auden was hiding something in this box. I run my hand along the side of the box, looking for some sort of latch or door. One of the decorative panels on the door shifts under my fingers, but nothing happens. Hey Lee May, do you know anything about this? I point at the box and Lee May approaches it and inspects it carefully.
It's locked.
What do you mean? I don't see a keyhole on it or anything. She shakes her head.
It is a puzzle box. You must rearrange the panels on the side to open the doors.
I see. How do I do that? She shakes her head again.
I will do it.
Are you sure?
I want to help. Aki does not let me work because she worries about me. But there's no danger with this. I can be useful again.
Well, if she wants to, I don't see why I shouldn't let her. She probably has a better idea of what to do anyway. I wouldn't actually know where to begin. She touches the side panel lightly and slides it back and forth, tilting her ear towards the box as if listening for something. After a few seconds, she moves her hand to the other side of the box and repeats the process. She pauses, takes a step back, and looks at the box carefully.
This will take some time. Please return later.
Huh? Well, sure. I back out of the room to give her some time to herself. Oh, I don't want that because I'm on the move. You still in here? Hey, feeling better?
Yes. I'm sorry for earlier. I just needed some time to myself to think.
I want to inspect the stall. Come up with anything?
Actually, yes. I've been thinking about Mr. Otten's death.
What about it?
The more I think about it, the more I think it was an inside job.
How so?
At first, I thought that someone on the outside might have managed to sneak something in, like poison, but Mr. Otten was very careful. Liam told me that his uncle refused to eat dinner until someone else had eaten it first. The only chink in his armor would be someone that he trusts. There's no other way.
Marissa's right. It can't be anyone else. I think it would have to be this stall or this chair. Because this is out of place right here. Nothing else to talk about?
Sure thing. See you.
I guess we'll go talk to... Let's go see if you got anything else. No?
Of course.
Aki? Go downstairs. Still locked. No?
That's cool. We'll talk.
lot of people are mad at Mr. Auden because of his research. Detective Gursky rolls his eyes.
Don't I know it. There have been multiple public demonstrations concerning Auden Engineering's work.
Do you think it might have something to do with his death?
It's possible, but it's hardly likely. I don't see how any one of his demonstrators could have gotten in here to kill Mr. Auden. An attempt on his life by one of them is more likely to take the form of a gunman or a bomb. All right, then.
Guess I go back to Lee May then. Or where'd you send Aoki? Wrong room, the door to the living room swings open. I jump aside to avoid being hit in the face.
Oh, hey! Sorry, dude. Didn't see you there.
Yeah, I figured as much. Going somewhere?
Yeah, just heading back upstairs to my room. There's like nothing to watch on TV.
Don't you have a TV in your room? Liam pushes past me and strides into the main lobby. I hurry after him. Oh well, I was wondering if I could ask you something first.
Yeah? Yeah, okay, shoot.
So, do you really participate in dogfighting? Liam eye grows
Why
wide.
is it that that's all anyone ever talks about?
Is that a yes? He rolls his eyes.
Sure, whatever. Yes.
I'm surprised that he confessed so easily. I guess he feels like he doesn't have anything to lose. Why? I try to keep my cool, but I didn't expect him to be so bold about it.
Because I was bored. Duh.
Aki is watching us intently. It seems like this conversation has caught her attention. That's a terrible excuse, Liam. Liam throws up his hands in exasperation.
Oh, please. Animals fight all the time in nature. So why shouldn't we throw a little money on it?
Because in nature, animals aren't kept in cages between fights. The loser isn't shot in the head and...
Yeah, okay. Forget I asked. Let me guess. You're a vegetarian.
I raise an eyebrow. What if I am?
Yeah, I figured as much. I'm really not in the mood for another lecture.
Liam turns and heads up the stairs.
I'm out of here.
Liam bounces up the staircase, 2 steps at a time. What a wuss, go 3. Liam glares at me as he ascends the steps. Oh, Aki glares at me Aki glares at him as he ascends the steps. She shuts her eyes and breathes out a single quick breath.
Ah!
Without warning, Liam trips on the step and falls forward, planting his face neatly on the top flight of steps. He looks around in a disoriented panic. With some effort, he scrambles to his feet and runs up the stairs, disappearing down the hallway past Mr. Auden's office. I spin to face Aki. What was that? She gazes off in the distance, suddenly interested in some invisible point in the ceiling.
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about. You did that.
Sort of.
Care to elaborate?
Well, when I push a thought into someone's mind, it can be anything. An idea, a desire, or in some cases, a simple scream. It has a sort of disorienting effect. Confuses the senses momentarily.
She smirks.
Comes in handy more than you'd expect.
I'm not sure whether I should be impressed or disgusted.
You could be impressed and disgusted. Impressed?
Please don't.
That's cool.
Okay, leave me, I guess. You done? How's it going with the puzzle box? Lee May nods at the wooden box. I approach it and gently touch the door. I hear a soft click. The door springs open, making a little sound at the smoothly carved hinges. Whoa, good job. My heart sinks as soon as the door opens. It's empty. Lee May nods and touches my hand. A small smile flickers across her lips.
That is only the first door.
The first door? What are you talking about? She takes my hand and places it in the box, pressing my fingertips against the underside of the top of the box. My finger traces out the shape of a small hole carved into the wood. Next to it, a worn series of characters, probably Chinese. That's a keyhole, Oh, there's a keyhole in here. Li Mei nods. What does the writing say?
The key is in the place between mind and body.
There must be some sort of secret compartment hidden in here. I guess we'll have to find a key in order to open it. Li Mei
I
nods.
have already searched this room, but I cannot find it.
Between mind and body? Then maybe it's somewhere else in the house. It's in a place between mind and body. I wonder what that means. Li Mei eyes flicker back to the tapestry on the wall. Oh. I mean, we shouldn't be doing this on camera. Mind and body. You're still in here? Trying to think. Hold on, go back. If I can't go back, I have to choose a room. Goddamn, kitchen, I guess, whatever.
Of course.
Mind and body. Examine. Forest. Cave. Ocean. Mountain. Something that the space between mind and body, that's a puzzle. Oh, is that the space between the mind and body puzzle box was referring to? I run my hand along the orb, nothing. Mr. Auden was thinking I was trying to keep all of this secret, so I look up at the camera on the ceiling and move around to fasten slowly until I'm hidden from view. Sophia's going to kill me if she finds me messing with this thing. I run my hand down the orb carefully until I feel a seam in glass. I press it gently and it moves to the side, revealing a thin metal rod twisted into an intricate pattern on one end. Is this the key? I glance up just to make sure that the camera isn't watching me before I take the key and slide it into my pocket.
That's cool.
No, not talk to you.
That's cool.
They need to add a back button. I'm gonna stop this one right here. I don't know how much longer we'll get to the ending. So I guess we get this box and then we'll see what happens after it.